Once again, and welcome to the program. Good morning, Sierra Leone, coming to you live from the SLBC in Freetown, the program that starts your day with analysis and a different view on news and current events. My name is Kojo Kwafu. Our quote of the day is an African proverb, and it says, "No matter how old a man is, he still remains a child to his parents." Coming up in today's program, Sierra Leone improves on score in Millennium Challenge Corporation Control of Corruption Scorecard. Infrastructure for Development will deliberate on the impact of the Wellington disaster on transport and infrastructure. And also in the program this morning, the College of Theology, Management and Church Training celebrated 46th anniversary. These and more in the program. In the next 1 hour, we invite you to participate by sending your own text messages to the numbers 077-230-440. And you can also find us on Facebook at SLBC Live Channel 31 and other social media platforms. Let's now take a coronavirus preventive message.
You see where them people here wear them mask them fine? Well, now so you say for wear your mask. Cover your nose and you must all them where you dey near other person.
Good morning, Sierra Leone, and I am Kojo Kwafu. Now, the Anti-Corruption Commission has informed the general public in a press release that Sierra Leone has made another remarkable increment in the country's very high score in the Control of Corruption indicator in the Millennium Challenge Corporation MCC scorecard, moving from 81% in 2020 to 83% in 2021, thereby adding a further 2% points upwards. This is the 4th consecutive year Sierra Leone is recording an outstanding score in the MCC Control of Corruption scorecard. For more on the issue, the man himself, Commissioner Anti-Corruption Commission, Francis Benkaifada, is here with us in the studio this morning. Good morning, sir. It's a pleasure to have you again.
Good morning, Kojo. I'm always happy to be here.
Yes, and we've done it again. 2 points up from 2021 from 2020 to 2021. What does it mean for us?
Well, it is 4 years in a row, back to back. And you have to understand this score is not an incremental score. It's not like last year you were 81 and this year they are 2. No. They reassess every year from 0. Okay? So for Sierra Leone to score, remember in 2017 we failed at 49%. We became compact ineligible. We were not even considered. For 2018, after President Bio became president, appointed me commissioner, worked with him, worked with various sectors, the people of Sierra Leone, the government, various stakeholders in the transparency space, including Audit Service Sierra Leone, the Financial Secretary, and all the Minister of Finance, and other people who work really to make sure this transparency and fiscal policy framework is neat. The results were very immediate. Quickly we jumped from 49% to 71%. That does not happen very easily in any country. And since then it has been incremental jumps from 71% to 79% in 2019, from 79% to 81%, and now we are 83%. It means a lot for the country. It means that the efforts that we are collectively putting in the fight against corruption, with the president providing leadership, with us at the commission leading the fight, various actors, including those acting in the media and civil society space, also playing their own role. There is the data. That is, the data confirms year in, year out that what is happening in Sierra Leone is really good, that we are making progress with the efforts against corruption, and of course we are leading several countries that we used to admire before. In this index, we are leading Kenya, Nigeria, Tanzania, Uganda. We are leading a lot of countries in the southern hemisphere. These are all things that Sierra Leone were not known for. But today we are leaders. Just take it this way. We are leaders in the fight against corruption. The country that was declared the most corrupt country in 2013 by Transparency International is today a leader in the fight against corruption. It means a lot for this country. And the result of this is going to be long term. But even in the short term, we are already seeing the respect that the country is getting. The President Julius Maada Bio, was invited to address the United Nations on the fight against corruption. Imagine a country that was considered in 2013 the most corrupt country in the world. Its president is now the one speaking to world leaders on corruption. These are things we never had, and these results are really amazing for the country. And I am very happy to congratulate the people of Sierra Leone for this kind of important results.
And you yourself have been putting in a lot of effort in the fight against corruption. Can you just bring us up to speed on your recent activities that has led to this this result?
If you look at the data, if you look at the analysis of the data that led to the jump in the fight against corruption, it confirms firstly the seriousness with which we have taken enforcement, okay, in terms of investigation and prosecution. Since 2019, when we last lost the Aisha Johansson case, we have not lost a single case at the ACC. So the entire 2020 and almost the entire 2021, the ACC keeps winning all its cases. I mean, this does not happen in any country in Africa, I'm telling you this. It's because of the quality of investigations that we are doing, the quality of the prosecution we are taking forward, the quality of the evidence, and the fairness and efficiency of our investigative abilities. But more beyond that, we identified that the real strength of the fight against corruption is not the fire brigade running after people. It's prevention. So we strengthened the National Anti-Corruption Strategy Secretariat to do more, and they are doing very well in coordinating integrity management committees in various ministries, departments, and agencies. 94 have been established. We also strengthened the prevention department to do aggressive systems and processes review, introduce policies that identify opportunities, incentives, and monopolies for corruption, and dismantle them entirely. And then we have a better policy, we have a better transparency and accountability framework in these institutions, and the follow-up, the monitor to make sure that they are followed. So the prevention is backstopping the enforcement very well. But beyond that as well, the public education. I'm sure, Kojo, you are aware that at no time has the issue of corruption been discussed. The awareness of the issues of corruption being discussed. At no time has the public relations and public education regime in the fight against corruption been so aggressive than it is now. I lead it myself to educate the public on the evils of corruption and to recruit their support, and that is going very well. 92% when the PFM consortium did their survey as to the confidence the people have in the institution that should fight corruption. 92% said we believe in ACC. These are things, when that survey was done several years ago, about 5-6 years ago, it was 19%. The jump from 19% to 92% is extraordinary. So really it's the engineering, the architecture that we have deployed in the system. We are not saying that we have suddenly become angels overnight, but trust me, what we have done in Sierra Leone with the fight against corruption, the structures we have put in place, the systems we have put in place, the seriousness, the tenacity with which we have gone after corruption, and the things we have done scientifically with data, relying on science to really be able to engineer a proper fight that targets the mind and asks for a better behavior. It is admirable. That is why, in addition to all these indexes that are coming, various countries are now coming to Sierra Leone to learn from us. Gambia is coming this weekend on Saturday. I am supposed to receive the Solicitor General of the Gambia with his team, who are coming to understudy what we are doing in Sierra Leone so that they can go and implement Gambia. As you are aware, Liberia were here. They came into your studios and they said the reason why they were coming here is because before they used to go to Botswana and Rwanda to study from them, but now there is a bright example just around the corner, Sierra Leone. And they came to us. Guinea came the last time. Malawi has come. Uganda came to study for us. And we already have a request from Botswana as well to come and study from us. Our system is simply the best in fighting corruption in Africa.
And what are you doing about those institutions that rank topmost, in the corruption index in Sierra Leone? We're talking about the Sierra Leone police. We're talking about the ministry, the Ministry of Health, and others.
Yes, the institutions that interface more with the public are likely to rank most because the public remembers them more when questions are asked and the public interface. So the police, for example, traffic police are always on the road. So even in the police, there is a lot of improvement according to our pro barometer in the types of in the reduction in corruption within the police. But then when they ask people, they remember the traffic police, which is just a small segment of the police itself. And that is what really drives the public perception with respect to the police. And we still need to do a lot with the petty corruption. That is what we call petty corruption. These people who stand in the streets asking people, asking drivers to pay money and things like that. The same thing for the health structure. Recently, we raided PCMH and we arrested all the triage nurses there and brought them to the ACC. What were they collecting? 10,000 loans from people. These are petty corruption issues. So what we do about those, because we can't always be running after these people. We don't have cameras like advanced countries have at every intersection that police people are. So public education is important, to educate the public on these things, to understand that even the police themselves, this is not good for them. I have spoken with my brother, the Inspector General of Police, many times about this, and he is really taking steps, because what we do, we find some of them are taken out of the police, some of them are dismissed, some of them are punished, some of them are removed from traffic police and transferred to other places, just to try to see what we can do about it. But public education and prevention is what works with such corruption, because that is petty corruption. It is the one that is more perverse, it is open, but its overall effect on the general scheme of things in Sierra Leone is more minimal. Just that it drives perception, because people see somebody collecting 5,000 news, but we are preventing people from stealing 1 billion news like they used to. One person can steal 10 billion news and disappear with it. Now that is not happening in the public service. So we are coming there, but we keep on. That is why we keep on encouraging the government to invest in prevention. Prevention is better than cure. And for these people where you have thousands of them doing various things, our numbers at the ACC are only 300. It's sometimes tough for us to be able to police and monitor them. But that is why also the Scorpio Squad is there to sting them. Like I said, we just storm PCMA. Some of these things we don't put public, because what we are doing is so, there are so many things that are happening at the same time that we are saying that we'll put everything out in public. We'll just be putting everything out, and people will go tired of it. But we do all these operations. There was one we did in Bo very successfully, arrested the nurse. She's now standing trial in Bo and things like that. So we continue doing what we can.
The fact that you're scoring these goals, internationally and locally, does it mean that the government should pay more attention to the ACC in terms of providing more resources for you to be able to expand on your scope of work?
Well, you see, the ACC is like a mother who has triplets. The government is like the mother, and we are the children. And it is only 2 breasts that the mother has, and she has to know how to lie down to feed each of them. The government has a lot of pressures on them. One thing I can tell you is that the government is really doing its best in the circumstances. I study international finance. I know exactly how tough it is to run a country like Sierra Leone, which has not really created wealth, and they live on basically almost day to day, and sometimes do not support. So I don't fault the government for not being able to provide us everything we need, but the only thing is the budget that they approve, they provide the resources. Just now when I was on the way, I was speaking with Mr. Sajusu, the financial secretary, who confirmed to me that our building, we have a massive anti-corruption building, the Integrity House. It's built. We are just about finishing it now. And we needed 2.5 billion euros, and he sent me a message on my way here to say that yesterday he himself went and saw the building. It's so excellent that the 2.5 billion has transferred to us. And I called our finance director, who confirmed that the money has been transferred to our account so that we can pay the Chinese contractors who are doing it. So all I am trying to say is, it's tough. The government is really doing its best. The president has provided the will. There has been no time I have gone for any money at the Ministry of Finance. They may delay because, of course, they too have things to deal with, but they always end up paying what they are supposed to pay. Could it be more? Yes, it could be more. Our capital budget has never been approved since I became commissioner, so we don't have money to buy cars, buy computers, buy gadgets, buy investigative documents, equipment like recorders and all these things, because our capital budget in terms of the day-to-day runnings of the ACC have not been approved, except the one for that building. But we understand these things, and we continue to work with them to see how best we can continue. Just imagine, with the little resources, the entire ACC is run per year on a budget of recurrent expenditure of 8 billion euros. 8 billion euros is about 500,000 pounds and about $800,000. That money cannot run. When I went to Egypt and I told them our budget, they said that money cannot run a unit in our anti-corruption outfit. But we in Sierra Leone are here with such low budget and expenditure, and we are doing such massive things on the fight against corruption. Imagine if we had more, what we can do. These countries are failing. Egypt just faced the MCC scorecard. All these other countries have failed. Our neighbors Liberia are struggling. Other countries are failing. Guinea, Togo, all these places are really, really low. Kenya, who we used to admire before, are way down there. Ghana has gone completely down. Ivory Coast has gone down. Nigeria got 0. Imagine the difference between 0 and 83. We are 83, Nigeria got 0. So it tells you, if we had more resources, what we can do.
Yeah. And could you do with some more human resource stuff?
Of course, yes. We always need more human resource. You are talking about the police, for example. You are talking about the revenue generating institutions. Waterkey alone, if we really want to sustain operations at Waterkey to prevent more corruption there, we are doing our best, but we need at least to station there about 20 staff. The same thing for places like Balamuya, where these are corruption cops, where the moment they understand that nobody is watching, they try to cheat the system and things like that. Even though the NRA, the Commissioner General, is doing very well in terms of developing integrity systems and getting his team to be in line, but you know the general nature of people, they will always try to bypass things. So all I'm trying to say is we need more people. We do not have enough people to police the entire country. We are merely building strategies that work, but it could be best the more people we add.
And recently you were dealing with the case, or you're still dealing with the case that has to do with Dr. Samura Kamara, and we saw what happened, you know, eventually with the supporters of that particular individual and the police. How far gone is that?
You know, politicians will always be politicians. That is what I told the EU delegation when they went to meet me about allegations that I am merely only targeting the opposition, and I told them no. I have only done 15 cases as commissioner of the ACC that concerns people in the past government. 15 cases. Every other case we have done that is more than 300 are cases that have to do with the current government and its operations and people, and the outcomes are clear. And that is why we keep improving. And I took out the data, I gave it to them. Yesterday I was the British High Commissioner. I did the same thing. I just went to my laptop, printed out the cases that list the cases we've done for people in the APC and people in the SLPP, and I gave it to her. I said, go and verify the data for yourself. If you find out that we are doing more about the past government than the current government, hold me accountable. The data does not support such a thing. And when you call politicians to come and explain the way you were giving money to build the bridge is not there. The money is not there. What has happened to the money? They say, oh, you're calling me because I belong to the old regime. That is not true. And that is what happened. That is the unfortunate development that happened with Samura Kamara. Dr. Samura Kamara was financial secretary in this country. He was finance minister. He was foreign affairs minister. Okay? So if he's invited at the ACC to speak about issues that happened during that time, it is not because he is Dr. Samura Kamara, the flag bearer of the APC. We are investigating the New York Chancery building. That Chancery building, the first money that came for it came in 2013. At that time, Dr. Samura Kamara was at finance. He remembers everything that happens around that money. I myself have sat with him like we are sitting down and had a conversation around it. When the procurement took place in 2016 for that building, Dr. Samura Kamara was foreign affairs minister. He took the proposal to cabinet and lay it before cabinet with details, with his signature on it. He approved every transfer that took place after the signing of the contract because he was Minister of Finance. If we are investigating a payment that concerns that tenure and that period, who best to talk to? Do we now say because Dr. Samura Kamara was flag bearer of the APC, so we should not speak to him? When he took this thing to cabinet, when he remembers more of what happens than I will ever remember because I was not even there. I was a student at that time. And that is why we invited this man, come to the ACC, help us understand what happened, because the thing that was done was so terrible that only 47% of the work has been done. $4.5 million has been paid to the contractors, but the building is leaking water. The roof is open, The 2 floors that they were to add, they have never added. The neighbors actually in Sierra Leone, it has become a major diplomatic embarrassment to Sierra Leone. So if we invite Dr. Samura Kamara to come and assist us to understand what is happening, when he himself goes to the ACC, he most times comes first to my office. We sit down, we have a conversation around these things. I show him the issues which he needs to answer to. I explain to him the circumstances around him, and he himself agrees that yes, these things he should answer to. He should have a conversation around it. The only thing is, he will always give an explanation as to why, either because at that time it is now, we are now working from hindsight and things like that. So he will always justify whatever wrong that happened by giving some rational explanation for it, which is fine. But if we invite him to come to the ACC, should he now go and call the entire generation of supporters of his party to come with him to the ACC, and they should stop him from coming to make a statement? Did we ask him about his flag bearership, or we asked him about 2016 when he took a document to cabinet that contained information that was patently false? These are the things that we have to deal with, but we have to continue doing what we do. And it's because of the strength to do this. What we are doing is holy war, and people can be jumping outside. When they fire tear gas down at the ACC, in fact, the first bow that moved, it went straight into my office, because my office is located right at the top, and the air just took it in my office. My ears was full of tears. One of our staff collapsed in her office, and I had to go out and arrange for them to move her to the hospital because she had asthma, and the tear gas really just got to her. But we have to continue doing this, and that is why the rewards are coming in. That is why we are winning the awards. That is why we are getting the recognition. That is why the world is celebrating what we have been. That is why Afrobarometer says control of corruption has reduced from 70% in 2017 to 40% in 2019, in 2020. That is why Transparency International is showing, for the first time in our history, we are jumping 10 places in 1 year in the ranking of countries. And that is why MCC is coming to confirm that for 4 consecutive years we have been performing excellently. We have not just been performing well, we are performing excellently at every time of that indicator.
And since we're with the investigation right now, has he, Dr. Samura Kamara, been found wanting or culpable in the investigation?
That is the point. Look, I may have a document which I believe Dr. Samura Kamara signed, which he ought not to have signed. Because clearly, for example, the document says that rigorous vetting was done of the contractor. The word that was used in that document was that the contractor who got this contract, that is what he took to cabinet and gave to them. That the contractor was rigorously vetted. My brother, the contractor did not even have an engineering qualification at the time. The man did not have a license. So he was not even vetted before it can be rigorous. So if we are now looking at that, before we confirm our conclusion, we have to call him to say, what happened? How did you take rigorous vetting to cabinet? He will give his own side of the story. It will be recorded. All those things have now been collated. We have given to our lawyers to say, lawyers, please go and look at this. Dr. Samura Kamara said that the contractor has been rigorously vetted. But the contractor did not even have a certificate. The man was not even vetted. Is this a crime or it is not a crime? If the lawyers come back to Francis Kaifala as commissioner and say, this one, only the court can decide what this is, so be it. It is not because Dr. Samura Kamara is the flag bearer of the APC. It's because Dr. Samura Kamara was Minister of Foreign Affairs and he took it to cabinet, among many other things he did in relation to this contract that requires such consideration. And sometimes we ourselves cannot decide. We go to the court and ask the court, what do you think? If he's innocent, the court will say he's innocent. I will be there to congratulate him and any other person who is charged in this matter. But we cannot be intimidated in doing our work, and we are not making any decision at this stage. The issue is being considered by our prosecution department, and we'll know what will happen by next week.
Are there other people that will be called for interviews?
There are lists. Look, in this matter that these people were protesting for, Dr. Kali Kaba was interviewed for 3 days. He had to cancel his flight and shift his flights 4 times. whilst the ACC was investigating him. In that same matter, Dr. Francis Kaikai, who is the Minister of Development, was interviewed at the ACC. In the same matter, Nabila Tunis, the current Minister of the Western Area, who was Minister of Foreign Affairs at some point in this spectrum that we are looking at, was interviewed at the ACC. The head of Chancery in New York, Mr. Nalo, was brought to Sierra Leone and was arrested and detained for over 10 days at the ACC because of this matter. The same thing for financial attaches, other people who asked her. Alikali Suma, who was then the head of Chancery, after we couldn't find him and we had a press conference and I called that he should come, he and his lawyers came 2 days later to the ACC and he presented himself and he was interviewed quietly and went home. We have spoken to over 24 people. We even sent a team of 3 investigators from the ACC to New York. They even spoke to the American contractor. They spoke with various people in New York and in Washington. And they came back with a report. So, it is one of the most unfair things for them to say that we only invited Dr. Samura Kamara. And they know it is not true. Dr. Samura Kamara is nearly 3% of the investigation. We have spoken to over 35 people in this investigation. How then can it be only about him? It is not about him. It is about what happened in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 and 2020 that we are investigating, and we cannot be intimidated.
The African Express put out a report where they revealed how some monies were expended, monies that were meant for that particular chancery or embassy, what is it, in New York. Are those reports credible in your view?
You see, we always appreciate people who are whistleblowers, people who help us with our work by identifying areas. This chancery building thing was already identified in the audit report. Okay, we were already on it before African Express brought out their information. But African Express information was also useful. We take everything on board and we work with it. Well, I think the one thing about the African Express, the way they present things, we are investigators, we are not emotional. We peel off emotional and politics on the facts and we look towards the facts. And sometimes the African Express has a way of embellishing things for their own purposes. We are not interested in that, but that does not mean that the facts that are contained in what they give out, we don't peel out the emotion, the politics, the sensation, and accept the ones that we believe are useful to us and use it in our work. And that's what we are doing.
All right, Mr. Francis Benkefala, continue to stay with us in the program as we're going for a short break.
Thank you.
Vimto's unique recipe has been refreshing Sierra Leoneans for over 30 years. Only Vimto has the secret blend of fruits, herbs and spices that has tasted great since 1908. Don't be fooled by inferior imitations. Vimto. Insist on the original.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it's not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spice palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, meat fufu flour, shito, pisa and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to you.
Welcome welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Good Morning Sierra Leone on the SLBC, and I am Kodjo Kwafo. We've been talking to the Commissioner, Anti-Corruption Commission, Francis Menkefala, and he's been telling us about the successes of his institution, from moving 81% in 2022 to 83% in 2021 on the NCC scorecard. We want to go now to another issue. We'll come back to him, but we're going to another issue which has to do with the fire incident and the accident that took place at the PMB junction, Wellington, involving a loaded fuel tanker and a truck carrying granite stones that led to the loss of lives and property as both vehicles collided on the highway while the fuel tanker was about entering a nearby filling station to discharge its fuel. Well, the entire nation is in mourning. The unfortunate incident that resulted to the loss of lives of many, and 83 have already been buried. That was the other day. To further the discussion on the Wellington disaster and safety of transport and infrastructure, I've been joined in the studio by the board chairman of Infrastructure for Development, Charles Bamboo. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kodjo. Thank you very much.
I know you've been following, recent developments with a keen eye. What's your take on this whole issue?
I don't just follow recent development. I do follow every development, even those in the past. I know, and in fact, it's on that ground that I really want to commend my brother Ben Kefala for the good job he's actually doing, and his actions are actually justified. That youth are no longer future leaders. They should be today. Youth should be leaders of today, and they have to take the nation and the society to future. And that's a clear manifestations. It has no longer any rocket scientist to tell you that youth can take the nation and the country to a brighter future. I think he's actually setting that example, and we want to commend him greatly. On the issue of what happened, we continue to send our condolences to the Belief family, and also commend the leadership of President Bio and the government, the Ministry of Disaster Management, the security sectors, and the media, for actually being very proactive in terms of responding to what happened. It was very unfortunate. It could have been prevented. However, that did not happen. The accident actually came, and it cost a lot of Sierra Leonean lives in both materials, property, and the rest of it. So for us as civil society looking at infrastructure, especially the transport infrastructure, we are actually very much in sympathy with what happened. However, what happened could also have been a sign that something has to be done to prevent the occurrences of what happened, and we now look at the government to take some proactive actions, so that what happened, at Wellington could not continue to repeat itself. When we're looking at the transport infrastructure, we have three sectors that are actually dealing with transport infrastructure. You have the road sector, you have the rail sector, and you also have the sea sector. The coordination mechanism in terms of addressing the governance of the road sector is where we have a major problem. Government, through the SLRA, through the Ministry of Works and other partners, including donors, are actually contributing a lot, to get our road fixed in Sierra Leone. That they are doing on every day, even though we are miles away, to get the result we wanted. But no matter how much effort they are making in terms of providing the needed resources to get our road constructed to a standard that we want, the governance of the roads are very, very critical in terms of even maintaining the road, preventing and reducing road accident and crashes, and at the same time even ensuring that the road functions the way all of us will want to get it. Unfortunately, that is actually not happening. In the roads traffic and safety management, you have the Sierra Leone Road Authority who actually in this with the mandate of looking at the designing, the construction, and also other attributes that deal to the road. and XLRA is under the Ministry of Works. You have the SLRSA, who is actually have the mandate to ensure, that the road safety is upgraded, and people know how to behave. And you have the Sierra Leone police, who actually enforces. In terms of preventing road crashes, we have serious problem on that in Sierra Leone, and that one is coupled with the fact that there are massive lawlessness, indiscipline, among a lot of the road users. People don't obey the law, they don't look at the road sign. The road safety education is extremely weak, very, very weak. Very people knows about it, and the enforcement is also very weak, coupled with that of response. When I saw the footages, because I was out of town when the incident happened, and when our team went there and presented their report, if the road governance have been properly governed by rules and regulations, that there should not be any street trading, anybody depositing material very close to the road on the right of way. I think a lot of the losses that occurred at that point could have been prevented. But here is the main road, which is a 4-lane leading to Wellington up to Manshaka. You have another road which is a 2-lane road, one going and the other one coming in at the old road leading through Wellington, Calverton up to Arlington. That one is totally blocked as we are talking. So when an emergency like that occurs along the main road, which is the Wellington Waterloo road, there was no other routes for people actually to take an escape route so that they can bypass the accident zone. Because at Wellington market you find it very difficult to go through, because everybody trades right on the road. Sands, sticks, all sort of traded goods are deposited right on the road, and that's the same thing to Calverton, so all to Arlington. So you find it very difficult when there is a blockage at one point. It's going to affect the rest of the traffic, both incoming and outgoing. So we are not actually taking the enforcement of the regulations that deals with the governance of our road. It's extremely a pathetic issue, and for us, we continue campaigning, we continue educating our people, and at the same time we continue reporting to the authorities, the Sierra Leone Road Authority, the Sierra Leone Road Safety, and by extension the government of Sierra Leone. But then very little is actually done to ensure that our roads are properly governed.
Even as you're talking about the management of the roads, from the onset when the plan is being drawn to construct a new road or to rehabilitate the road, I believe that plan carries the road signs where they should be erected and all of that. But we don't see many road signs on our roads.
No, they are not there. And even the few that are there are being removed.
Why?
Just by the bad behavior of some people. About the extra electricity cables. The transformer are being vandalized. A road could be constructed today, and the railings for the bridges could be removed the next day, simply because people want to destroy the transport infrastructure, either because of politics or one other way. But it's just, again, it's a common bad habit. 6 months ago, because we traveled on the road, when you are dealing with infrastructure, you're dealing with development, human rights, you have to be where the issues are. So I see this thing completely. Just 2 months ago, 3 guys on the bike rider died very close to Shegwema. A truck was parked there, a broken truck without any reflector. And for 3 consecutive months, some of us were reporting this vehicle has to be removed from this point. It was never removed until when those guys ran into it. 3 of them died instantly. It also had happened many times along the Manshaka Waterloo road. We had these broken trucks. They actually parked on the road without reflector, without any other messages that you can sign to the incoming vehicles. They stay there until they cause accident. So when the roads are done by SLRA, which is for all of us as usual, the rest of the people, who next actually takes into account that this road has to be governed? Even the people,
isn't there a body that is responsible for that?
Yeah, no, the road as per law, constructions, maintenance, and the rest of which actually lies in the hand of the Sierra Leone Road Authority. But the safety aspect of it actually lies with the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority and the Sierra Leone Police. Sometimes, again, what we have found out is that a lot of, disagreement, over my right and your right, but the policy favors men. Even the act, we have made series of recommendations. The act needs to be reviewed. The act that set up the SLRA, the act that set up the SLRSA, the SLRTC, who actually deals with the vehicles. There are serious, inconsistencies within the act itself. But we are making of recommendation to all these people. When we are applying the road, one of the things that we have seen is the status of the tanker. Those that are actually carrying flammable goods, the petroleum product. 6 months ago, before this time, I wrote to the chairman of the Petroleum Regulation Agency, PRA, and I said, we have found out something. We want to come and see, to look at the petrol resources infrastructure from the civil society part of it, so that we can present what we are seeing on the road. My brother, petroleum stations are built right on the way, right on the road. Sometimes you have houses that are being transformed into petroleum stations. You understand? We wanted to discuss all these issues with the petroleum agencies, so that all of us will come together and see how we can continue to educate everyone. Not even an acknowledgement was received from PRA. Not even an acknowledgement that letter was received as we are talking today. You understand? Look, I tell you, a lot of our vehicles
maybe they are still
not roadworthy in Sierra Leone. More than half of the vehicles that are applying on the road, both private and public, are not roadworthy. They definitely are not roadworthy. So as a result, each and any one of them could be involved in any accident at any time of the day and night. I have seen on the highway at about 2 a.m. in the morning, midnight, 40 container moving and crosses through the checkpoint at my 38 and apprentice right at the top of the container using torchlight instead of the vehicle headlight, and it goes. I see that time without number. You drive on the highway, you see a lot of those trucks, a lot of them parks on the highway without any reflector. You understand? And people can just burst into that, and many people have lost their life as a result of that. It's very pathetic. Who is actually taking the action to do that prevention? I think perhaps there should be a need also to incorporate bank, to see how it can help us with the preventive aspect of getting our roads.
I believe, especially highways, don't we have highway codes?
No, all these codes are there. They are.
Are they supposed to?
It's the enforcement that are lacking.
Quite
definitely. They are enforcing. Let's look at the right.
Hold on. You are going to Shekuma, and then you have your car broke down along the way. What do you do for you to get rescue, to get help? Who is supposed to provide that help on the highway? Isn't it the Sierra Police? Sierra Police first responders, then they call in the SLRS, come in with their total.
The first respondent is you, the driver or the vehicle owner. You understand? First of all, the law says you must carry reflectors. If you are broken down on the highway, you have to fix it about some meters away from the vehicle, both at the front and at the back. You understand? Where you have the capacity, to actually have the power, the human resource power to push the vehicle off the road. At that first time, it's your own responsibility to also have done that. But most of them, they did not do it. Where the vehicle breaks down, that is where they leave it. Some of them even abandon the vehicles and go away without reference to any other road users. I think the road belongs to all them. So when people, even the grasses, some will not do it. Quite definitely. So the governance of our road, from the perspective of our citizens using the road, is extremely an important issue which this country have to pay a lot of attention to. You know, these laws are there, but who's going to enforce them? Nobody. We had a plan to clear the right of way. You know, there's a meter, you know, from the center of the road to the left and the right, where no structure to be there. We have had series of meetings with SLRA and the Ministry of Works, you know, to take this. Some of these things also could have a political donation under it. Up to this time, that exercise have not taken off, because you want to do this, somebody so we don't want to be called a brocos, we don't want to be called, but people's life, they are building on an area where they should not be there, and you living there. There have been times when we have a container accident at Abacha Street. People died. Many people died. But up to this time, containers are coming to town, even at the time when trading, more people are on the road. Yeah. Where are the regulations? Go down to Clantown. You know, from Clantown up to Ferry Junction, you see these old trailers, you know, that are taking these goods from Waterkey. Some of them have been there permanently. They are not only there disturbing the traffic, but they are also destroying the road for which government is going to pay again, you know, to fix it. Go right from Clinton up to Ferry Junction, you can find them there, and there's nobody.
Let's bring Commissioner into this discussion. Commissioner, he was trying to actually bring you into this, saying that maybe there is something the ACC could do to help, because it seems like nobody's
especially in the area of prevention.
Yes, our mandate is clear, and that is why we have been signing MOUs with various institutions to help in their work. And if you've been following, you know that one of the things we've been doing is that we have supported the Ministry of Energy, the EDSA, to do a lot of work in terms of electricity theft and certain things that have to do particularly for major. We've done the same for SLI. We recovered money for those who are not paying their licenses for years for heavy machinery. We recovered, I handed over the check of over 500 million loans to the Director General at the SLRTA. So Mr. Mambo Onkucha, a man who is very passionate when it comes to civil society advocacy on things like that, is somebody you will always admire. He's doing very well at it for years and years and years, and we have learned a lot from him. And I am saying this, they can come for us to sit down and look at it to see areas of intervention. If it interfaces with our mandate, I assure him that we'll do what we can to help do things about it. And we are doing it for various institutions. We saw what we did for the education sector. We are still supporting Dr. Senge and his team in terms of examination malpractice and ensuring sanity in their work. So these are what we do. We have departments responsible for that, and we'll always be willing to do so, as long as it's to keep things with the country.
Well, Mr. Mambu is left with you to partner with
it. We are looking at the unity and development of Sierra Leone. So it's a work that is with all of us, including him. You know, what we are all doing is to support the development of Sierra Leone. Yes. But I tell you, that accident could have been prevented, and we can even prevent more. And that's why we're calling on government. Those actions that you can take now, while we are waiting for the presidential task force report, let them be implemented now. Because the longer you delay it, you know, the more the zeal to implement some of these things, you know, will actually go away. You know, everybody is crying. We saw the amount of resources government have put into aid our partners, the Ministry of Health. You know, we witnessed the burial ceremony of the. Everybody is crying. Okay, today we cry. You know, how do we ensure that tomorrow, you know, other people could not be involved in similar thing? You know, so there are some action that government needs to take now while we are waiting for the presidential report.
All right. Well, thank you very much. As the president said, we hope that Sierra Leoneans will learn from this, you know, so that it won't happen again. On that note, we want to bring the program to an end for today. It returns tomorrow at the same time, 9 a.m. Many thanks to the Commissioner, Anti-Corruption Commission, Francis Nekafaya, for coming in, and to Mr. Charles Mambu, abled civil society activist, who is very passionate, as the ACC Commissioner said, about these issues. And we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Until then, ciao.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Inkulenu palm soup base. It's easy done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Inkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Inkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, meat fufu flour, shito, pizza and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Inkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
Vinto's unique recipe has been refreshing Sierra Leoneans for over 30 years.